This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the 15th day of February in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The Guyana Defense Forces Coast Guard has dispatched a team of investigators to probe the discovery of a small boat in Guyana's waters with a number of dead bodies aboard. A senior military official has confirmed that the Guyana Defense Force and other agencies are probing the reports. The vessel was reportedly spotted earlier today by the crew of another vessel. The number of dead persons on the boat has not been confirmed. A probe by the crew of the outgoing vessel discovered the lifeless bodies and immediately alerted the local maritime administration, which contacted the GDF and other relevant agencies. All of the bodies found on the vessel are in a partly decomposed state. A source familiar with the discovery has told News Source that the vessel had no markings to indicate whether it is a Guyanese registered or from another country. The source also explained that the Coast Guard is working with the other agencies to get the direct location for the drifting vessel. Once the investigative team makes it to the vessel, their probe will seek to identify the registration of the boat and clues about the dead persons aboard. News Source understands that the crew of the outgoing vessel that made the gruesome discovery has since dispatched some photographs from the vessel to local authorities. The Guyana Coast Guard is expected to brief the government on the discovery and the details of the initial probe. A few weeks ago, 2 Guyanese fishing vessels were detained and taken to neighboring Venezuela by the Venezuelan Coast Guard. They were released after 2 weeks in custody. There have also been reports of Venezuelan migrants using small vessels to sail across from Venezuela to Trinidad and Tobago as they continue to flee economic crisis in their home. In the past also, there have also been attacks on fishing and other small vessels by pirates who traverse the waterways offshore Guyana. More news coming up in just a moment.
GTT is celebrating our 30th year of proudly serving Guyana. You're invited to join the celebration with 30% off your internet for 3 months when you sign up for Blaze high-speed internet powered by Plume Home Pass. Promotion runs from January 29th to February 28th. Take advantage of this offer today using promotional code BLAZE330. Visit gtt.gy Blaze discount 17 for full details. GTT and you, together we rise.
Contributions online? Simply visit our website at www.nis.org.gy. Click on the Create New Account button and enter the required information. An automatic email notification will be sent to acknowledge your application. Once your information is authenticated, you will receive an email within 48 hours with instructions on how to access the site. Once logged in, you can click on the My Contributions tab on the left side of the screen to view your contributions. For further information, you can call our Records Department on 225-2798 or visit your nearest NIS office.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breast, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Dare to slay. Are you prepared to represent all Guyanese women on the Miss World stage? Entrepreneurs, social media influencers, beauties with degrees, athletes, humanitarians, and performing artists, top models with charisma, and oh yes, if you so please, friends or frenemies who are as real as can be. Dare to slay, then apply without fear, making 2021 your boldest, bravest year. Win a car, $500,000 in cash, and loads of other prizes fitting for a queen. It's Miss World time. Are you ready to slay? Victoria Regia Season 1 begins. Apply today. www.missworldguyana.com.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breasts, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then, since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95, tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95, tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyoil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyoil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Welcome back. The government of Guyana today formally launched the stakeholders consultations for the country's local content policy for the oil and gas sector. Addressing stakeholders at the launch of the Arthur-Chung Convention Center, President Irfan Ali said he hopes that the views of a wide cross-section of the society will be captured so that a comprehensive document can be produced.
The local content policy has to be a living policy. It has to be a policy that is flexible, a policy that is responsive, a policy that has great clarity, a policy that set the framework through which all those who are engaged, not only in the oil and gas sector, but the forward and backward linkages of the oil and gas sector, all would understand fully what are their responsibilities to local content. That is very important.
The president also said the policy must be responsive and cater to the needs of Guyanese. He added that every sector must understand the role they could play.
For us to establish with great clarity the responsibility of every stakeholder to local content, a type of local content, and a type of measurement and evaluation that will be done to ensure that they are operating within that policy framework and guideline.
And President Ali also said that as Guyana continues to grow and change in nature, different aspects of the economy will evolve, and so too must the policy. Consultations for the policy will be open for 1 month. During that time, stakeholders will be given the chance to make presentations and submissions. The process will be headed by the president of the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association, Shaim Nokta. A night out between a group of friends turned deadly along Homestretch Avenue in the early hours of Sunday morning as a tragic accident claimed the lives of 2 of them. 20-year-old Dakira Gittins and 18-year-old Tonika Haley died when the driver of the car they were traveling in lost control and slammed into a power pole and flipped into a nearby trench. Gittins of Festival City died on the spot, while Haley passed away in the emergency room at the Georgetown Hospital. 2 other friends are hospitalized with serious injuries. Meanwhile, the Guyana Police Force has indicated that the driver of the car and the front seat passenger both ran away from the scene of the accident, leaving their injured friends behind them. The driver of the car was speeding at the time of the accident. A full police investigation of the accident, which occurred just before 1 o'clock yesterday morning, is currently underway. 3 devastating fires over the weekend that gutted a total of 6 houses are being probed this evening, with at least 2 of those fires suspected to have been caused by an electrical problem. Fire officials found themselves busy on Saturday. The first fire completely gutted a house in Dazzle housing scheme on the east coast of Demerara, leaving a young teacher and her family without their home. A few hours later on Saturday morning, a fire in the Kitty area gutted 2 other houses, leaving 2 sets of families homeless. And less than 3 hours later on Saturday afternoon, firemen were called out again to tend to a blaze in the Castello housing scheme. The Castello housing scheme fire gutted 3 houses and has left 24 persons homeless and contemplating their next move. That fire started in a house where no one was at home at the time. As neighbors raised an alarm and alerted the fire service, the blaze quickly made its way to the other 2 houses, gutting them both.
And then I came back home. Then my wife came and said, Lennox, don't go upstairs, don't go upstairs. The smoke coming over. And then I went back down and I saw Brother George's son coming. Apparently he went to church or something like that. And then I said, open the gate and let us go. And then he opened the gate and we went inside. He gave me a 20-pound cylinder, gas cylinder bottle to put outside. Then said, oh God, like something in the fire. So I hustled and I came down the step, but I already started to feel more weak. So I braved that and I came out with it. I gave another guy who was coming up the step, I gave him the water and he come and I take my time and I come out. And by then the smoke started to engulf and in the whole upstairs at Brother George, and then it started to come through the window by me. So my wife telling me,
The fire service is currently probing the 3 fires. 5 soldiers who are under investigation after allegations of rape were leveled against them in Region 1 have been withdrawn from the community and are in custody. In a statement today, the Guyana Defense Force announced that it is conducting its own inquiry into the allegations, as the Guyana Police Force also probes the allegations leveled against the soldiers. News source understands that a teenage girl in the community filed a rape complaint against the men, accusing them of raping her after a party that they all attended. The Guyana Defense Force said it will spare no measure to ensure its ranks uphold the values and standards of the force and maintain the confidence of the communities which they serve and defend. The soldiers were dispatched to the area as part of the increased patrol for the bordering regions. With more than 15 years of service to the Ministry of Public Works, the government on Friday fired the Coordinator and Chief Works Officer of the Work Services Group, Jeffrey Vaughan. Mr. Vaughan's termination will take effect from the 12th of March. The termination letter, which was signed by the Ministry's Permanent Secretary, Vladimir Prasad, instructed Mr. Vaughan to provide a detailed handover report of all projects he was involved in and to return all property and records of the state that may be in his possession. Vaughn, who's a civil engineer by profession, served in several senior capacities in the ministry, including project manager, head of river and sea defense, and on several occasions he acted as the ministry's permanent secretary. Speaking to News Source today, Mr. Vaughn said no reason was given for his termination, but he noted that he must comply with the order and has no intention to challenge the termination. Vaughn, who is a graduate of the University of the West Indies, said he also does not want his termination to be treated as a political matter. He said he is proud of the work that he has done over the past 15 years at the Works Ministry under various governments. The family of murdered Berbice teenager Harish Singh staged a protest in front of the president's office this morning as they repeated their calls for justice. Singh of number 3 village West Coast Berbice was found murdered in the village Bagdam during an unrest that erupted following the murder of 2 other Berbice teens, Joel and Isaiah Henry. During today's protest, Singh's family expressed their disgust at the way the police is conducting the probe, noting that the family has not been informed of any progress made on the matter.
We come to protest because 6 months done since my grandson there, and then I do nothing about it. I be like having a cough. Then I do nothing about this, nothing that I come find out, and I come do nothing. Nothing that I do, like me grandson, I get over now, you get nobody.
Because we ain't getting no response from anybody, no police, no CID has never come. Every time they say they're investigating, and nothing is coming out of Harish Singh's story. It's like his life in matters.
The family said they will continue to hold similar protest exercises until progress is made in the case. 17-year-old Singh was found with chop wounds on the morning of the 9th of September, hours after he left his home. He left his home on his motorcycle to tend to his farm. His family members went in search of him after they noticed smoke in the area with the farm. His lifeless body was discovered with head injuries. A post-mortem examination later confirmed that he had suffered blunt trauma to the head. A 26-year-old Sophia man was today charged for murder and remanded to jail over the stabbing death of another Sophia resident. Appearing in court this morning, the accused Randy Wiggins was not required to enter a plea to the indictable charge of murder committed on 36-year-old Kevin Smith. The incident took place on the 8th of February at Deerfield, Sophia. According to court documents, Wiggins was hired by the owner of a house to evict the tenant Kevin Smith. During Wiggins' demand for the man to vacate the premises, the two got into an argument, and that argument led to a fight. During the fight, Wiggins armed himself with a knife and repeatedly stabbed the tenant, killing him in the process. He escaped from the murder scene but was later arrested and charged. His case will continue next month. The magistrate has ordered that he remains in jail.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breasts, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then, since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Due to the impacts of the global pandemic, COVID-19 across our nation, essential organizations like us have chosen to adopt innovative approaches to meet the emerging needs of our customers while protecting our employees. Here are some quick tips to make managing your GPL bill easier while we practice social distancing. To register for electronic billing, you can use the e-billing tab on your website. To access your bill balance, you can use 4 options: the website live chat at gpl.net, the online inquiry on our website under billing, SMS Freedom by texting your GPL reference number to 624-0400 or 608-8400, or call our call center at 226-2600. A message from the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as Filaria. But what is Filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breast, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then, since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Across the region right now, the Minister of Health in Barbados, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, has confirmed that the latest woman to die from COVID-19 in Barbados was a healthcare worker. In a statement issued this morning, the health minister said the woman was a nursing assistant at Queen Elizabeth Hospital and she was in isolation for 9 days. He implored Barbadians to take COVID-19 seriously. Bostic said the country owes healthcare workers an immense debt of gratitude. His statement concluded that the Ministry of Health and Wellness in Barbados extended sympathy to the grieving relatives and friends of the woman. He said Barbadians should also pray for the family and others who are in mourning because of the loss of loved ones during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thousands of people have taken to the streets of the Haitian capital of Port-au-Prince again, and this time they're also including other cities as they renew protests against the government. They lit barricades of burning tires and debris, demanding the resignation of President Jovenel Moïse. Some demonstrators were reportedly injured as police fired rubber bullets to disperse the crowd. The cause of the Caribbean nation's fresh unrest is a bitter dispute over the legitimacy of Mr. Moïse. Haiti's opposition says that Mr. Moïse's 5-year term should have ended on the 7th of February, 5 years to the day since his predecessor in office, Michel Martelly, stepped down. Mr. Moïse, however, insists that he has 1 more year to serve, as he did not take office until the 7th of February 2017. And finally tonight, international news. More data from Israel's vaccination program is suggesting the Pfizer vaccine prevents 94% of symptomatic infections. This indicates the vaccine is performing just as well in a larger population as it did in the clinical trials. The BBC reports it is proving highly effective at preventing illness and severe disease among all age groups, according to the public health doctor in Haiti. Israel's largest health fund looked at positive tests in 600,000 vaccinated people and the same number of unvaccinated people matched by age and health status. It found 94% fewer infections among the vaccinated group. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.